It's a Conspiracy is a proud member of the Alberta Podcast Network, locally grown and community supported. For other fun programming, please check out albertapodcastnetwork.com, where you can find shows like the Mess Hall Podcast.
Here's the thing that I feel like social media has really been pushing me towards this. I listened to an interview with the guy who created The Good Place. You know that show? Do you guys enjoy The Good Place?
I've seen a few episodes.
And he basically invented the show and almost had carte blanche to do so because he was so good at what he's been doing. And he just was like, hey, what if we did like a show about ethics, right? But like made it not like you're in the classroom learning, just like softly push ethics into the ethos, right? Mm-hmm. And since then, I just heard him on another podcast, and he just put out a book, legit. Like the ethics fire has been lit under him now that he's done all this research and all this stuff. And he's jazzed on it, right? So he just put out a book about it, and I'm like, I'm probably gonna go buy the book after we finish doing this podcast, because I feel like with all this stuff going on right now, maybe the world needs a little bit more ethics.
It's not a bad idea, man.
I've been thinking a ton about like ethics within regards to music and the music industry and the whole Spotify thing and the whole Joe Rogan thing and the whole, and even just the art versus artist thing. And I'm like, maybe the world needs to think about this stuff a little bit more right now, So that's where my headspace is.
The Spotify thing is particularly interesting because like there's no way that and not to whatever, Neil Young knew that Spotify weren't going to pull down Joe Rogan. Like he's like, I'm out. Like I just made a very public stand. Like he knew he wasn't going to win that argument. And then Joni Mitchell pulls her stuff down and people are like, oh no, what are we going to do without Neil Young and Joni Mitchell? But it's like, it's just but
so many young people are like, who the fuck is Neil Young and Joni Mitchell?
Well, that's exactly the thing. If you take the total amount of Joni Mitchell and Neil Young music that have out there and how many people listen to that on a weekly basis, and then balance that with how many people listen to a Joe Rogan episode, and there's like 3 or 4 a week. That doesn't make sense business wise for them to do that, right? Like I get what he's doing, and I don't fault him for trying to do that. But also, if you're going to start there, do you not have to also make sure that your music comes off of all the other streaming places? Because you can still get Joe Rogan's podcast, not just on Spotify. They give him money, but
Spotify have really backed him. They've really gone hard.
It's true, but it's still also available everywhere else. Right.
Yeah. But not in entirety. Like I think you can only get like clips on YouTube.
Totally. I thought it was exclusive to Spotify as well.
I don't know. I mean, honestly, I haven't done any research on it. It's just something I've been thinking about.
Yep.
And like,
fair point.
I'm wondering what the exact wording of his, like, is he mad because they're up there or because they're funding him?
Yeah.
Like, what's his wording? Yeah. And also I heard another thing, and again, I did not do any research on it, but that he told whoever controls his music to take his stuff off of Spotify and then put out the letter giving him the ultimatum, as in like he had already set the wheels in motion.
Yeah. Well, it happened like the same day.
That's not exactly how that works. You have to wait for someone to respond before you take action, right? So there's a lot of weird stuff it's really been taking up a lot of headspace lately. So
getting deep. Getting philosophical.
I'm not like backing Joe Rogan, or I'm not backing Neil, like I'm just interested in the ins and outs and what have yous.
Why do you have that Joe Rogan poster on the wall behind
This
you?
is not a Joe Rogan poster.
Look, it says, I love Joe Rogan.
It says, I want to
written
believe.
your name on it. Yeah. All right, so we're ready to go here.
Yeah, you can cut all that.
Okay,
all that
Charlie's Philosophy Corner.
Out. Get it out of there.
No, it's good to hear that stuff. All right, so here is episode 13, Better Living Through Morganite, Part 2, Electric Scoobaloo. All right, now the reason I said Scoobaloo is because the other day someone said, every time I see the thing ROFL, I think of Scooby-Doo trying to say waffle. And I'm like, that is so funny.
Man, that joke is rawful. That joke is rawful.
So welcome back, everyone, to It's a Conspiracy. This is the podcast where we lay out the beliefs behind selected conspiracy theories, alternative accounts, legends, myths, and more. I'm your host, Andrew, and I do not claim to be an expert on anything we're going to discuss today, and will probably be wrong about everything. because hot damn do these things change all the time. I often get asked, what do you think you'll do if you run out of theories to talk about? And honestly, I think that A, there's no way to run out of these things, like new ones pop up all the time. And B, most of them could probably get revisited because it's like the weather, you just wait 10 minutes and, hey, come on.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, just wait 10 minutes.
You tired of the weather? Just wait 10 minutes.
God, you guys are so old.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's just,
don't worry, Greg. You'll get
every
this
city
joke in 10 years.
Every city I've lived in, people have been like, we got a saying, if you don't like the weather, wait 10 minutes. And it's like, that's not your saying. That's every city in the world.
Specific to your city, bud.
Oh, man.
I wonder if there's other cities that are like, oh, we only have 2 seasons, winter and construction.
As always, if you'd like to see where we got the knuckle dusters of justice, then we are going to beat the oppressors down with, then please check out the episode description. Lord Charlie nestles those younglings into their beds with love, and he wants you to watch him do it. So from what I understand, his policy is watching is free, touching is extra.
No comment.
Yeah. And we are a proud member of the Alberta Podcast Network. Yay team, yay friends, yay squad. Hooray. Ooh. You can check us out at itsconspiracypodcast.com. Our Twitter at Is It a Conspiracy? That's run by the social media influencer, Irish Madman. Our Facebook group, our Instagram page, It's a Conspiracy Podcast. That's run by Lord Gorgeous Greg. Our email and our Patreon page, patreon.com/ It's a Conspiracy. Oh, that one had a low rumbling going on.
That one's for the snakes.
Man, that was for the snakes. It's almost hit that brown note.
Where my snakes at?
Right then, joining the online distance communication time today is His Lordship Charming Charles and Gorgeous Greg. These fossil enthusiasts are going to interject as they see fit, and I do appreciate their socially distanced digital company. We're all in this together. You guys might notice I have my child down here with me today who's just wandering around behind me.
There's a little him in there.
Can you sit down, please, sweetheart? All right. Is it number 1 or number 2?
Well, that's got to stay in the podcast.
Is it a combo? It's a combo.
Do you need to step away for a moment?
No, I'm good. She's yeah.
Oh, okay.
Now, Charlie, with a totes or a notes, can you tell me if you've heard of either of these theories? Number 1, why is the number 13 so unlucky?
Semi-totes.
Okay. A Lord Charlie Scream Monster of the Week with Lord Charlie Scream.
Oh, hella totes.
And number 3, 10 different but not wrong superstitions.
Notes?
Motes?
Motes?
Okay.
Perhopes?
Right.
Perhopes?
Perhotes.
So this is subject number 1. Why is the number 13 unlucky?
Why?
So this is our 13th episode. Maybe we're cursed now. If you guys can do me a favor, tell my wife I love her. Let her know that the key is under the Optimus Prime on my nightstand, and the password is password, but the S's are 5s.
S's are 5s, yeah.
The O is an @ sign.
Please clear his browser history.
Yeah. So yes, in earlier episodes, we covered cursed numbers, not curse words.
You numbers.
But the number 13 phenomenon, like the phenomenon around the number 13 really deserves an episode all unto itself. Why? Well, partly because the phobia is an amazing word to say. I'm just going to run at this here. Triskaidekaphobia.
Triskaidekaphobia.
You were sitting down. Come on now.
I was... Triskaidekaphobia.
Triskaidekaphobia.
Yeah. What a fun word to say, right?
Mm-hmm.
Totally. And mostly it's a genuinely odd Western culture hang up. All right. Now, number 1, 13 is unlucky because there were 13 people at the Last Supper, man. And tradition has held that the 13th to take their seat was either Judas or Jesus himself coming in with a chair.
Now, that would have been a Royal Rumble surprise, let me tell you.
Number 2, 13 is unlucky because, speaking of the Last Supper, or possibly the date of the crucifixion, it was apparently on the 13th. Now, I didn't know they had calendars back then. Actually, it's a fun story, as a number of biblical scholars have suggested that the Last Supper was actually a Passover meal, which would be on the 13th of the month Nisan, I believe is how you say it, which is a Jewish month on the calendar.
Nisan Sentra?
Nisan Sentra. Number 3, 13 is unlucky because the Hebrews had to go through 13 different challenges in their exodus from Egypt. There is also a passage in the 13th Psalm that describes the circumcision of Israel happening in the 13th year. So circumcision, ouch.
Cut it out.
Yeah.
Ouch.
You know, I've never thought about it, but we should probably do an episode on circumcision. That'd be kind of fun to talk about.
Yeah, that sounds like a barrel of laughs.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, man. Number 4, 13 is unlucky because there were traditionally 13 steps leading to the gallows if you were hung. Well, to be more specific, and this is so awesome, there's 12 on the way up and 1 on the way down. Oh, yeah. That's great.
That sounds like great advertisement.
To the gallows.
Sunday. 12 steps up, 1 on the way down.
The trip of a lifetime.
Now, number 5, 13 is unlucky because the Knights Templar, those are the guys who protect the Holy Grail from Harrison Ford before he had his earring. They were arrested and executed en masse in like the IRL Knights Templar on Friday the 13th. So the real guys with machetes.
Black Friday?
Okay. On Friday the 13th. Number 6, 13 is unlucky because, apologies, I almost didn't want to include this. Okay. So women menstruate roughly 13 times a year. Coincidentally, there is a spike in the sales of chocolate, red wine, and microwave popcorn at the same time per year. All right, number 7.
And that's the end of our podcast forever.
That's the end of our podcast. It's been a good time, guys. Number 7. 13 is unlucky because it is said that a witch's coven has 13 members. All right. Now, if we're also talking about witch's coven, have you guys had the chance to see the new Macbeth, or the Scottish play as it's called?
No.
Ethan Cohen put together a new version of Macbeth, and it's unlucky to say Macbeth, and there's a whole thing attached with that. So people usually say the Scottish play if they're referring to the Shakespearean comedy romp.
Like in real life or in the movie?
No, in real life.
In real life, it's bad luck to say Macbeth if you're in the play.
Yeah.
Oh, if you're in the play.
If you're in the play, or even like talking about it, people usually just say the Scottish play. Oh no, he's got the evil eye on me. Yeah. Were you ever in a Shakespeare play, Greg?
No.
Oh. I was
my life feels like a Scottish play sometimes.
I thought there was going to be an amazing story there for a second.
I was really into Romeo and Juliet with Leonardo DiCaprio and what's her name? Claire Danes. Of course. Paul Rudd hasn't aged since that day. Still a beautiful man.
He is a beautiful man.
Oh, hi there. Hey, just a quick editor's note. Paul Rudd is indeed a beautiful man, and that is because his mother ate symmetrical food when she was pregnant with him. That'll make a little more sense a little later on in the program. Okay, you take her easy. We'll talk to you soon. All right, take care. Okay, bye.
Number 8, 13 is unlucky because, now this sounds like a bunch of malarkey, but if you have 13 letters in your name, you are either cursed, a lunatic, or dangerous. So for example, Charles Manson, Jack the Ripper, Jeffrey Dahmer. So Adolf Hitler's full name was Adolphus. Theodore Bundy, I almost said Ted Bundy. Theodore Bundy, Clint Eastwood, and our very own Charlie Scream.
What? Hold on.
Yeah, that's 13, buddy.
You're right.
Yeah, you're gonna need your fingers, your eyes, and your nose to count that high. Number 9, 13 is unlucky because 13 has become a rough day for businesses. Pranks, behavior, or just a lack of people wanting to leave their homes that day has made business on the 13th kind of a blank day. Like not quite buy nothing day, but almost.
Oh, it's like the elevator number that they leave off on the 13th floor.
Oh, Greg, you're getting ahead in the list. Oh, you haven't done that in a long time.
I haven't done that in like 2 years, man.
Classic.
It was bound to happen sometime.
Well, it's nice to, some things never change. That's good. Now, number 10, 13 is unlucky because 12 is the perfect number. We know that 1 is the loneliest number, but 12 is the gold standard of perfection. So just like Wham, where there are 2, you will have a golden stallion and a macaroni pony.
I'm not 100% sure the sentence you just said there.
So in Wham, there was 2 guys.
Oh,
there was the gold stallion and the macaroni pony, just like 12 and 13. Mm-hmm. Number 11, 13 is unlucky because the Zoroastrian faith predicts chaos in the 13th millennium. Good wins eventually, but death and carnage rule the 7 seas for 1,000 years. Number 12, 13 is unlucky because famous athletes like Dan Marino, Steve Nash, and Mats Sundin end up missing out on the championship belts. So this, of course, is refuted by people like Wilt Chamberlain. But if the Crow soundtrack taught us anything, it's that it can't rain all the time. You know what I mean? That's in my heart.
That's
right?
Deep cut right there.
Now, number 13, as Greg has already spoiled for us, 13 is unlucky because you will not find a 13th floor in buildings or hotels in Canada or the United States. You may see the list of floors, skip the number 13 altogether, or do something like, oh, it's 14A, or oh, it's 12B. So, of course, any rational person in this situation would realize that if my hotel room or business office is on the 14th floor, they were actually on the 13th floor because they skipped the number 13. But that doesn't seem to make a difference. And real estate statistics for over a century now have backed this up. People have, like, they've proven this with statistics. People avoid working or staying in a room on the 13th floor of a building, or if the number has 13 in the address or the office number. This is the opposite effect of the peculiar phenomenon happening in cities like Vancouver, where homes and offices with the number 8 in the address or the floor number or whatever, like if it has 8 in there somewhere, these end up being the most sought after properties. So if you have an 8 in your address, the value of your home could go up by like $50,000.
Well, that's interesting because I have an 8 and a 13 in mine.
Oh,
I wonder if that just cancels it out.
Mm-hmm.
I got a 13 in my address.
Oh, that's why you'll never sell it. Well, and you're going to die there.
Whoa, buddy.
I'm sorry.
Coming in hot.
Yeah.
Now, this peculiar behavior has been noticed all over Canada and the US with the skipping of floors and rooms and stuff like that. But it's not strictly observed in Mexico. And this is like almost regional in Europe. So, for example, in Italy, the bigger concern is the number 17, particularly if it lands on a Friday. So Friday the 17th is like nightmare day.
They have their movies all redubbed.
And I think we talked about this before in our other one about cursed numbers. In South Korea and Japan, you will not see a 4th floor of a building. You'll just go like 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, because often 9 gets skipped as well. So floor, I think it means death in both languages. It sounds like the word death in Japanese. I'm not sure about South Korea. Okay, now bonus fact about this, and I know the secret. I'm going to save it for opinion time. I know why this is a thing in my heart. Okay, now a baker's dozen is a beautiful thing, as you lucky SOBs end up with 1 extra bear claw in your order. Now, having an extra bear claw is positively awesome. Yeah.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
So 13 is a baker's dozen, and that's great. 13 strudels? Yes, please. Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you guys are going to go to a bakery...
Are we supposed to know the reason why the baker's dozen? Or?
If you want to hold on to that, I know why it is. I'll hold on to that for opinion time. But if you know why that is too, we can get to that.
I'm going to wait and see if your opinion
I'm not sure. Let's see. Wait and see.
Okay.
I can't wait for opinion time.
Since we can't hardly wait, what are we...
What are we drinking?
What are we drinking? So I realized the other day, I never go first on this. So I'll just get mine out of the way.
Yeah, you always throw us in the line of fire first.
Yeah. In the line of fire.
Or the line of Fireball, as was last episode.
So I had myself a Steam Whistle Pilsner. Steam Whistle, they're across Canada, and it's good. I mean, it's good kind of barbecue beer.
Classic.
And like, I like them a lot. Yeah, for sure. They sponsor a lot of events. They're really great. Did you guys realize that there's more than one kind of Steam Whistle?
No. I did.
Yeah. Okay. I never knew this. So I had only ever seen the Pilsner in their
classic green,
like in the liquor store. And it's a cool little whistle motif on the can, which is great. Now, I said I had a Pilsner earlier, but what I meant to say is that I had this session lager, the Steam Whistle Session Lager.
Oh.
Yeah. And the flavor, as described, was refreshing and light. And it was both of those things.
Is it lighter than a classic Steam Whistle Pilsner?
I wouldn't be able to compare the colors. Like usually just kind of, chonk them right out of the can. But this one I poured into the glass to enjoy it. And it was good.
Flavor-wise?
Flavor-wise, it was great. Very light, very, very crushable. It's once again, and not to dismiss this as a barbecue beer, but if I'm going to be outside on like a hot day doing some shrimp on the barbie,
throw some barbies on them shrimps.
Some physical activity.
Some physical activity. Yeah.
Cleaning out the gutters or what have you.
Then I'm going to be probably, I'd feel quite content having a few of these, in the pail beside me.
Interesting.
Now, what about you guys? What are we drinking?
Yeah, Charles, what do you have in there, big guy?
Me? Well, I'm headed back to my fridge for another Omen Brewing Night Rider, which has been my night ride or die bitch brew in the last little while. So I've just had another one of these Roggen beers.
Oh, yeah, that one was the super malty one, right?
Smooth. Roggen beer is a German rye beer. It's different from a North American rye beer. It has 50% rye in the grain bill, giving it a velvety, smooth, full-bodied mouthfeel with a bit of whiskey edge character. It's a unique style of beer unlike anything you've ever tried. That's a Night Rider. Omen Brewing. Oh, man.
How great is the can with the knight who's just going to chop everyone in half?
Speaking of your Templars.
Totally good. Oh.
There you go.
Bringing it back.
How about you, Greg?
Currently right now I'm doing a sober month that I'm starting early. So I'm not drinking anything these past few days. But before I decided to do a sober month, I was drinking the Jasper Brewing Company Crisp Pills.
Ooh.
Which is quite tasty. Very simple can. I love it. It just makes me, the simplicity of it brings me back to the colors of 1982, just like Edmonton. Enjoy this true Pilsner showcasing the local malt from the foothills of the Canadian Rockies. Proudly partnership and brewed in Alberta. So
keep it crisp.
Can't get much more local than that, I guess.
That is a classic can design too. It's so good. It comes in did you get the Alberta pack that has a bunch of the different ones in it?
No, I usually just go for the Crisp Pills. It's just saying Crisp Pills makes me feel like a badass.
Right in the pills.
Yeah. What'd you do? Oh, I had some crisp pills.
Cracked some crisp pills.
Well, that's What Are We Drinking? And that's going to take us to advertisement number 1.
Hello, I'm Elizabeth Bonkink.
I'm Andrew Paul.
And we're the hosts of the Well Endowed Podcast.
The Well Endowed Podcast is produced by Edmonton Community Foundation, or ECF as we call it.
ECF provides grants to charities through the endowment funds we create and manage with our donors.
Hence the title of our show, The Well Endowed Podcast.
Every month, we bring you a collection of stories and interviews with fascinating guests who are working to make Edmonton a strong, vibrant city to live in.
Through these stories, we look at the space where endowments intersect with your communities.
So if you're interested in the people and issues impacting your community, check out thewellendowedpodcast.com.
All right, now subject number 2, we've got a Charlie Scream Monster of the Week with Charlie Scream.
Oh, he's stretching. He's stretching.
Getting ready.
Stretches in. Welcome back to Charlie Scream's Monster of the Week, where I pick a different monster, either mythical, supernatural, or paranormal, and give it the classic X-Files solo episode attention and respect that it deserves. So get your galoshes on, because we're going on a field trip into the sewers this week to talk about the terrifically terrifying Toronto Tunnel Monster.
It's good, man.
Before talking about this curious creature, I should start by explaining Toronto. Most importantly, the fact that the city itself was built over top of many streams and waterways that have become a network of underground waterways that, over time, have merged with the sewer system. But we're not here looking for Ninja Turtles. No, sir, not this time. Previously on Toronto, the Algonquin tribes of Canada would tell stories of hairy man or monkey-like creatures that used to live in these rivers before they were hidden away from the public. But is it possible that these creatures have managed to survive their time in this dark, moist underbelly of a city? One reporter would say, "Yeah, what are you doing? Stay out of there. It's dangerous." The 1978 sighting. In August of 1978, a 50-year-old chap named Ernest, who kept his last name anonymous in reports as he, like most people, was listed in the phone book, and he didn't want people contacting him about his experience. He was reluctant to tell the paper his story, and I think it's worth mentioning that he didn't contact the paper about this in the first place. They had to hunt him down after hearing rumblings about it elsewhere. So he was like, you know, this thing happened, but I don't really want to talk about it.
Leave me alone.
However, he did. And according to Ernest, he saw something as terrifying as a living nightmare while looking for a lost kitten in a small cave near his Cabbage Town apartment. He'd been caring for a litter of kittens, and when one went missing, he went searching for it, which brought him into this sewery cave. It was pitch black in there. I saw it with my flashlight. The eyes were orange and red, slanted. It was long and thin, almost like a monkey. 3 feet long, large teeth, weighing maybe 30 pounds with slate gray fur. I'll never forget it. It said, "Go away," in a hissing voice. And then it took off down a long tunnel off to the side. I got out of there as fast as I could. I was shaking with fear. His wife had his back. "I believe Ernie saw exactly what he says he did. He was terrified when he came back to the apartment, and he doesn't scare easily." Further checking with his friends and relatives support Ernest's character as someone who wasn't the sort of guy to make things up. She went on, interestingly, to mention that he did enjoy the occasional drink and maybe tie one on from time to time, but he certainly wasn't drunk this evening. The original writer of this story then went with Ernest to the place where the whole thing had gone down, the tunnel's entrance. It was about a year from the time that he went down there. So the tunnel's entrance, which was a chore to get into in the first place, because over time they had built up some walls and things, making it tougher, not an easy public place of entrance. The entrance led to a narrow passage which branched off after a further 10 feet. And in that tunnel, they found the half-buried remains of a cat, which reminded Ernest of strange noises like animals in pain that he heard coming from the chamber that very summer. Now, the original report had a few comments from longtime sewer workers who weren't totally surprised by Ernest's report, saying, "People who work on the surface just don't know what it's like down there. It's a whole different world." Going on to say that they've found people living down in the sewers before, clearing out mattresses. Another saying that they've also found beavers and raccoons amongst other animals down there. "I don't know what he saw down there," one said, "but I'll tell you one thing. If we could get in there, I sure as hell wouldn't want to go down there alone." So, what did Ernest see? Was it an angry hissing raccoon? Down on his luck wino with nowhere else to go? Or was it, in fact, a terrifying tunnel monster with a taste for cats? Is there anything to this Toronto urban legend? What do you guys think?
Dang. That was good.
Are we holding on to opinion time for this?
Oh, yeah, sure. Back to you, Andy.
Okay. Have you guys ever been to that part of Toronto before?
No. Have you?
Yeah. So my dad was from Toronto, and he grew up in Cabbage Town.
Oh.
And it's now like a super wealthy neighborhood. But back in the day, crazy stuff. Have you been there, Greg?
No, I've been to that other city that's like an hour away from Toronto. I believe it's called Toronto.
Oh, yeah. Well, the GTA is its own little province now.
No, I've never been in Cabbage Town or anything like that. Yeah. Just the downtown core and the airport.
Yep. It's nice to visit the center of the universe from time to time, isn't it? Okay.
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay, so actually, the Irish Madman, they are thinking about moving to Canada, and he keeps being like, "We're going to go to Toronto. It'll be so much fun. You can swing by and visit whenever you bloody well please." I'm like, dude, it's like,
do you know how
4,000 kilometers away? Yeah, totally. I'm like, oh, I'm in London. I might as well swing by Moscow while I'm in town. You know, like little far.
St. Petersburg, just a walk away.
hi. Sorry, another quick editor's note here. I just, the Irish madman, he's well aware of the geography of Canada. I think he was just trying to be friendly, inviting me by. he knew it wasn't that close. Alrighty, he'll take umbrage with that one. Umbrage.
All right, so here's subject number 3. 10 different, I'm not saying they're wrong, superstitions.
You put it right in the title.
Well, because last time you guys were like,
wrong.
so you're saying they're wrong. Now, all of us have superstitions we hold on to whether we like it or not. Some of these are so ingrained in our lives that we are not even really aware of them. For example, we almost trip over each other to say, bless you, if someone sneezes. And I myself, I do the knock on wood thing if I'm feeling anxious about something. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Knock wood, tap, tap. Oh, no, that was plastic. So, yeah. Now, there are a number of reasons why that's become normal, but whatever the reason, it is built into us in a way that is hard to see sometimes. So here are 10 unique superstitions from around the world. Number 1, in Mexico, it is extremely dangerous to place 2 mirrors opposite each other because the never-ending mirror hallway that you'll get in the reflections is how the devil gets into your house.
Whoa.
I know.
That's intense.
Escalates quickly.
Damn, we're going 0 to 10 real quick.
In the Philippines, it is extremely dangerous to go directly home after a funeral or wake, as wandering spirits are often attracted to events like this, and those spirits will end up following you home, and they'll get in your house.
Wait, is this going to be
just like all these spirits get into people's houses? Yeah,
they're not all about your house, but yeah. In Germany, and I have seen this in person, bit of a faux pas moment on my part. In Germany, it is considered very rude to cheers with water, as it means that you are secretly wishing that the person you're cheersing with will suffer an awful death, like drowning. So my wife and I were in Munich one time. We went to Oktoberfest. It was amazing. We stayed at this hotel. This guy was really nice. So we bought him a beer and he went to cheers us. And I'm like, I just had a glass of water. I'm like, let's do the old cup to cup, me boyo. And he's like, oh, hey, like pulls
he
his
recoiled in
back.
horror.
Like, don't you dare come at me with that. Number 4.
Pal, I thought we were friends.
Yeah. Friends off. Get out of here. In Britain, it is considered knobbish to put your shoes, particularly new ones, on someone's table. There was a time when this was how a family was informed of a loved one's passing. Oh. So the police would just go into your house and put the shoes on the table and be like, whoever's shoes they are, they're dead. Number 5. Okay, in Turkey, you'd better watch out for itchy hands. Do you guys have itchy hands, Greg?
Nope.
Not at the moment.
If your right hand is itchy, then you're about to make some money. Hooray. If your left hand is itchy, then you're about to lose money. Boo.
Well, that explains a lot.
Yeah. Number 6, in Zarasha, it is a sign of blessings to come if a bird poops on you or something that belongs to you. How great is that? Right?
Oh,
the
man.
blessings.
My car is so blessed.
Number 7, in a number of Canadian Indigenous cultures, the owl is a bad omen. So this is particularly bad if one of these is sitting on the roof of your home, as it means someone inside is going to die. So the big question here is, who? Hey.
Charlie was waiting to say something.
Hey, Andy.
I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
I'll let you cut my previous who out of the jokes.
I will let you.
Yeah, I'll let you.
Number 8, in both North and South Korea, pregnant women are advised by doctors to avoid asymmetrical foods, as it may cause your baby to be ugly. So, yeah.
What was the first one again?
Avoid asymmetrical foods or you're going to have an ugly baby.
You're going to have an ugly baby. That's right. Number 9, in a number of Asian countries, such as China, Thailand, Laos, and Cambodia, it is considered extremely rude to pat someone, especially a child, on the head. Likewise, showing anyone your feet, particularly the bottom of your feet, will end up with you being thrown out of the home like the mongrel that you are. Get out.
So this is the first time you're going to get thrown out of a house, not somebody come into your house.
thrown out of the house by the devil. Okay, now I started looking at this one, and there was just too many factors here. So this is our 10th one, but it's a 4-parter. Okay. In Greece, getting married is a huge thing, and there are a number of rituals, and I couldn't just pick one. Okay, so the first one, friends and family of the couple will get together and make the bed that the newlyweds will sleep on in their wedding night. It's covered in rice, coins, charms, and typically someone will find a baby to roll around on the bed to sort of fuse fertility into the mattress for the bride and groom.
You really want to give it that new baby smell.
Yeah. Yeah, that new baby poo-poo smell is what you're going to get with that. B, the bride will write the names of any single friends she has on the bottom of her foot in hopes that those names will be rubbed off by the end of the night, which of course will ensure that the ladies with their names rubbed off will soon get married themselves. All right. C. Speaking of feet, just a little insight into our daily lives here. Greg has an OnlyFans account where he has his feet in a number of arrangements, and go ahead and get in touch with him about that.
Feel free to reach out. I do custom shots.
Only feet.
Also, Grecian brides are encouraged to stomp on their husband's foot at the end of the ceremony to ensure that she maintains the upper hand. Careful. I've got corns on that foot. Yeah. And D. This, I can't describe how repulsive I find this here. Like, I'm not trying to say it's wrong, but this would be a nightmare. At the end of the nuptials, friends and family, which in Greece, it becomes a huge family affair. So it's easily between like 100 to 400 people will be invited to these things. So all of your friends and family will take turns spitting on the couple, as it will bring them all good luck. So you just spit on people by like hundreds of people just showering saliva on you. Like, Anyways, next time we see each other in real life, I don't want you guys to be offended, but let's not spit on each other, because that's how about a friendly wave?
Only in the privacy of our own homes. That's how I'm going to put that one. You come into my house, I'm not promising you anything.
I'm going to spit on you in your house. So that's 10 different traditions from around the world. Yay.
I'd really like to commend you on your counting today.
It's pretty spot on,
we went
if I
to
may
13,
so.
And then you went all the way back up to 10.
Mm-hmm. Now here's advertisement number 2.
This episode of It's a Conspiracy is brought to you by Park Power, your friendly local utilities provider in Alberta, offering internet, electricity, and natural gas with low rates, awesome service, and profit sharing with local charities. Winter is coming, and energy usage for all Albertans will be increasing, so now is a great time for listeners to look at their utility bills and ensure that they are on the best plan. Albertans have a choice who they pay their utility bills to. Park Power is happy to provide free, no-obligation comparisons. If you decide to switch providers, it's easy, and you can feel good knowing you are supporting a local business and helping to give back to our communities with your utility bills. Learn more at parkpower.ca.
Opinion time. Hey everybody, it's opinion time.
It's time to count on each other. Opinion time. We are in opinion time. All right, then, Lordship Charlie with 13 letters. So you're cursed, but I hope you're okay. What was our first theory? Do you remember what the first?
Yeah, man, it was 13 things about 13 13s.
That's right. Okay, and our second was about the Cabbage Town devils that live in the sewers and eat cats. And G-Money, what was our third theory?
Superstitions around the world in 80 days.
You just talked about it. How you forget already?
Yeah,
that's not fair.
So now I know we had a lot of different customs and stuff like that we talked about in the last segment. Did any of those stick out to you guys at all? Like the mirrors opposite each other, stopping at McDonald's on your way home from a funeral so that the ghosts don't come to your house.
Yeah, you got to leave the ghosts in the play place.
Mm-hmm. In the ball pit.
In the ball pit where they belong. Oh,
yeah.
Gross.
I mean, I don't know how superstitious I am. Maybe just a little stitious, not super.
Yeah.
You're a little stitious, not
just a little stitious.
Okay. Well, the writings on the wall. The mirror one kind of was cool. It kind of reminded me of that like Bloody Mary thing you do as a child. Sure. You're in the bathroom with the lights off and say Bloody Mary 5 times, and she pops up behind you.
Yeah.
With a cold, refreshing drink.
So we do say things like bless you, we knock on wood. Is there anything else that you guys do or don't do for like superstitions? Like maybe not related to these, but is there anything you guys do in your daily lives that you're like, I probably don't actually have to do that. I don't need to spin around 3 times before I leave the house. For example,
Playoff beards.
Playoff beards?
Playoff beards.
Yeah.
Playoff underwear.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just a reason
Playoff
not to change
underwear.
my
Yeah.
underwear.
Don't wash those things, baby.
Don't wash it. Nope. I've wore it once. It's lucky.
There's a reason there's 4 sides to those things.
In, out, back, side to side.
I mean, I do the knock on wood or particle board or whatever's near me. But actually, I think I heard a little bit more about the origin of that. And I think most people who do it, they do it wrong, where they will say, oh, this is going to, or I hope this doesn't happen. And then they say, knock on wood, where I think originally what you're supposed to do is the idea of knocking on wood or knocking on something is you do it while you're saying it so that the spirits can't hear what you're saying.
Oh.
So it's like a distraction kind of thing.
I see. That makes a little more sense. Because, yeah, usually people are like, let's hope so.
Hope I don't fall over and knock on wood. We're just supposed to be like, I hope I don't fall over.
Interesting. I've never heard that before.
Yeah. And then the push ghosts don't hear what you're saying and they'll leave you alone.
Right. Then they stay away from your house.
Well, we can't trip that guy. He didn't say anything.
I know that in I mean, there's routine, which I find a lot of superstition personally comes from routine. Like if I'm at work, I sort of have to do everything in the same order every day.
Mm-hmm.
And what I would call that a routine, but some people would kind of call that superstition, maybe. Like, do you guys know what I mean? Right? Like you're like, I park in the same spot every day and I go in the same door and I like do the same sequence of events. And
before you leave your house, you're like keys, wallet, lighter, whatever.
Yeah, totally.
Sort of. I don't know if that's completely superstitious. Maybe a little OCD. But
I think if you were to like turn your
totally
lights
do
on
the
and
exact
off
same
like
thing
6 times before you left your house, that'd be a little superstitious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's still more OCD than superstitious.
See, but maybe that's OCD. People think that bad things are going to happen. I don't know. I'm not
exactly, and it could just overlap. Like
that's true.
You know, yeah. So I think that's what I mean. So routine. It does a routine turn into a superstition? I guess.
Does routine build superstition?
Yeah, right. Like the thing with playoff beards. In case anyone's listening to this, or like I don't know, what this is all about. Like, Greg, do you want to sort of explain that? It's a fascinating history that kind of doesn't.
I don't really
anymore.
know the history. I just something I've been doing. Like you said, it's a cultural thing that you do if you're like you cheer for your home team. I know it's big in the NHL. So if you're like a fan of any hockey team in the NHL, they make it into the playoffs. You stop shaving your beard, and so does every single player.
Mm-hmm.
And you keep that horrible, ugly, patchy thing on your face until you lose or until you win the Stanley Cup.
That's right. And they go right up until by the end, by like the time if it's gone to like Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals,
yeah,
you've got these like hilarious like hills have eyes people playing each other on the ice. Like 100%. It's so funny. Yeah.
Yeah. Or you've got that rookie who just started that's got like the 5-6 hairs on his upper lip and one on his chin, and oh man.
See, there's no reason to kick the people that can't grow beards, and that's what you're doing right now.
I'm not. I think it's.
And I happen to be one of those people.
I think it's great.
It's great.
There was a time where I couldn't grow a beard back in 2004.
So about the Monster of the Week thing, Cabbage Town is amazing. It's a super old neighborhood. It's got these like really cool old houses. It used to be extremely poor. And the reason they called it Cabbage Town was because these, I believe they were Irish, were a lot of the people that first started living in the area in like the 1870s or something. And they would grow cabbage in their front yard. So people were like, oh, it's Cabbage Town. So it's a little derogatory when you start looking at it like that.
Now, was it just a nickname or was it a legit name?
This is what it's still called. Like when I would,
like
go
there
with
are
my
signs
dad
that say Cabbage Town.
That's a good question because I've only ever known it as Cabbage Town, and anyone in Toronto, anyone from the Big Smoke, from the Six, from T-Dot,
from the T-Dot,
they'd be like, yeah, I know where Cabbage Town is. But the weird thing now is like nowadays, 2022, excuse me, it's like Avril Lavigne lives in Cabbage Town and Brent Butt lives in Cabbage Town. Like Robbie Robertson from the band, he lives in Cabbage Town. Like it's become a very wealthy neighborhood.
Well, that's that whole revitalization thing that they do, right?
And it's
Sody Sopak kind of stuff.
Well, isn't Cabbage Town like on the oldest street in Toronto?
There's something weird about the street. It's like the longest avenue or something like that in Canada. There's something about it. But the bummer is my family had a family home there, and they sold it like right before that whole thing kind of the revitalization took off. So they got rid of like
they missed
multi-million-dollar property. Yeah. So a bit of a bummer. That's all right though. Not mad.
You win some, you dim some.
Are they still haunting around the tunnels there?
Oh, but that's just it. The sewers are older than the neighborhood, and I can imagine some pretty gnarly things happening down there, right? Like you'd be talking like before the mid 1850s sewage systems. It would be ancient and just a nightmare to go down into, right? Just full of corpses and monsters and all kinds of stuff. So,
well, I think they mentioned it in the quote that Charlie had there that he was talking about. That they had literally had people living down in there to like get away from whatever was on top. So I would imagine bad weather and rain and people throwing crap at them. But
and just if it's a sheltered place to go, right?
Yeah.
Did the quote say that the guys like people from the surface don't understand? Are they Morlocks?
People who work on this or on the surface. Yeah.
You surface dwellers, you don't know the. Yeah.
It's like a fucking episode from Futurama. Oh man.
The Topsiders. This is one of the few monsters that I managed to find like a legitimate newspaper article. So that was pretty cool. Like the whole story, like, it was right there in one newspaper article. So that was pretty cool. I like that. Gave me a lot of good quotes.
I guess then we go back to number 13. So like what's happening with 13? Why are we so afraid of it? Like what do you guys think here?
I mean, wasn't it a Jim Carrey movie?
That was 23.
Oh, that's 23. Never mind.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really know. I'm used to the fact that it exists, and I feel like I read something about it a long time ago, but I don't recall. So it must not have been that sticky,
Yeah.
I think with
feel
the
like
number, go ahead.
Yeah, I think the connections to Christianity are probably where it comes from. If I had to take a guess, like the whole thing with the 13th person being the traitor.
See, this is the other thing that a lot of people forget, that there were only 12 people at the Last Supper because Judas left because Jesus said someone will betray me and pointed at him and was like, it's you.
But there would have been 13 until he.
Yeah, but after Judas left, that's when they finally had like the take this bread, it's my body.
Oh, I
this
see what you
wine,
mean.
this is my blood. Like Judas wasn't there for that.
Wasn't there for that part.
I might be wrong.
What did they do? Did they Photoshop him back into the picture later, or what? How did they get him in that picture?
The picture they painted. So, do you guys think that it has anything to do with women's menstrual cycles by chance?
Well, I'm not commenting.
I believe that is a thought, and that's a thought completely from Andrew Scott, who you can reach at.
No, man, hey, it's on.
Personal phone number is.
No, just a minute. The reason I included it's in the list of like why people think it's bad luck, which I think is an interesting. That one took me by surprise.
Yeah, it's always fun and interesting to hear like numbers like that or 23 or whatever it is, that have those things. That is like, wow, you guys, you could probably find that sort of information about any given amount of numbers,
Yeah. Every number is going to be loaded. Like we've been far enough in our development. Yeah, for sure.
You will find it.
Right. Like the sports jersey thing. So like it said with like Matt Sundin, like he was a great player. He was awesome. He ended up on the Leafs. So there was no way he was going to win a Stanley Cup. Like that's why. And it wasn't the fact that he was wearing 13. It was that he was stuck playing for the Maple Laughs. Yeah, like ugh, poor guy. But Wilt Chamberlain, yeah, he was all over the place. So with the baker's dozen thing, the reason I think it's a 13, the very small amount of baking experience I had in my life was we made it 13 because I knew there was always going to be at least one that I would mess up when I was making them. So I'd go to make a dozen and there was always sacrifice, because it'd be like one little bread roll or whatever that didn't end up turning out properly. So I was like that. This is why they must do that. If they want to have an even dozen, they know that they're going to screw at least one up. And so they've got their 12.
That's interesting. But yeah, that makes sense. And you always got a little extra dough at the end anyways, right?
Yeah, I've got a little extra dough. So you throw that extra one on
dough
there.
Yeah.
So this one's going to be smaller than the others.
I've always heard a baker's dozen comes from back when bakeries used to have a standard weight of bread that they would sell to people. And so they would have that extra bit of dough that they had baked off and be like, oh, well, this loaf here didn't make that extra weight. Well, you throw that other one on, now it does. Get out of our face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now go home.
And kind
And
of
take the
then
devil with you.
and then it kind of just extended to like, okay, we're not doing it by weight, we're doing it by standard piece. And sometimes that standard 12 piece doesn't always, add up to the weight that you should have. Throw that little extra piece in there.
Sometimes you get that 13th nugget.
Yeah.
See, why don't they do this with like cases of beer? Why don't they have like a
we screw it up. Here
dozen?
you go.
Yeah, whoops. Here you go, buddy. Yeah.
I think you actually have to go to the brewery for that.
This
Man,
beer's only going to be half full.
that would be weird if you're like,
What the
one of the
hell?
cans is only half full.
Only
You're
half
like,
of a beer.
I don't want to open this. There's probably a mouse inside.
Oh,
Yeah, actually, the only other question here I wanted to ask you guys was about number 13, and we might have touched on this with cursed numbers before, but do you guys ever have, like, if you're looking at a clock at a random time of day, you always seem to look at a clock at the same time? Do you know what I mean, Charlie?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I
Yeah.
feel like, and I mean, it's probably one of the more common ones, but like 11:11 just happened.
11:11?
Oh, it's 11:11.
Wow.
That seems to happen,
12:34.
Oh, what? Mine's
1, 2, 3,
12:34 too. Oh,
Yeah.
we have the same one. That's crazy. Yeah. Mine used to be 10:07 because that was like the radio station I listened to when I was a kid. But yeah, some point it changed to 1, 2, 3, 4. So Charlie, you're out. We got to find someone with the same number. So nice knowing you, bud. Yeah. Here's your
Finally.
papers.
See you later. See you later.
I don't recall saying good luck. Way you go.
But what about the people that go against the grain and be like, oh, 13 is an unlucky number for you, but it's my lucky number? Like, I find myself being one of those people.
Or you think 13 is your lucky number?
Well, not that it's my lucky number, but I don't think it's a bad number. Like,
You're just bucking the system, buddy. That's what
you
you're
know,
doing.
if someone was like pick a number between 1 and 20, that 13 is going to be my answer every time.
Sounds like someone who's got two mirrors facing themselves in his house.
Yeah.
Sometimes I like to look at both sides at the same time. Can't tell me what to do. It's my house.
Yeah. You're right, though, because honestly, if you're like, I'm just not going to play along with this, then, what are the ramifications of that?
I don't know. Look at me now, Dad.
All right. Well, then, righty then, amigos, thank you so much for swinging by. We sure do appreciate your company. And we do indeed hope that you will be back with us for episode 14. In the meantime, if you're needing some chuckle-weenies on your zucchinis, then slide into our past casts and social medias at itsaconspiracypodcast.com. Talk to you soon. Take care. See you later.
Bye.
See you never.